Hey there, good evening. Nice to see you. This is the Bronx Buzz, BronxNet's program where we talk with reporters and writers and journalists and editors and all different people who are putting stuff out in the Bronx so that you can kind of follow along and maybe get some inside information as to what really is going on in our borough of the Bronx. And in our second segment, we're going to have a little fun and we're going to talk about the Bronx Summer Jam. But we'll put that aside for the moment and say good evening to Chris Janaro, who is the zoning and development reporter with City Limits. Nice to see you, Chris.
Nice to meet you. I'm glad to be here, Gary.
I do want to say, in addition to that work, you are a Newmark Veterans in Journalism Fellow because of your status as a Navy veteran. So, of course, we all appreciate your service in that way, especially coming after Memorial Day. It's always nice to remember people who sacrificed and did all that stuff. But let's get right to it. You wrote a story called The Council Pushes for More Housing Funds as City Budget Negotiations Enter the Final Weeks. The City Council is pushing for an additional $3.66 billion for affordable housing over the next 5 years. People talk about what's the biggest problem in New York City: housing, affordable housing. Where are we at? Is it somebody going to have to twist the mayor's arm? Are we going to make this happen? Where are we at?
I think so. Where we're at, it's been an ongoing thing.
I know it's not fair for me to put all of that on you, but I did ask you the question. I can't deny it.
The mayor made a moonshot pledge of 500,000 homes over the next decade. And
I mean, is he having a problem to stick to that pledge? Is that what the issue is? So now the council members want to hold his feet to the fire?
The council members want to hold his feet to the fire. And additionally, the New York Housing Conference had a report that came out that showed that they were projecting like 32% less, a decrease in the affordable housing units that would be financed with capital subsidies.
Let me just ask you that. Why would that be? We all know we need more affordable housing. Why wouldn't government, whether it comes, through the budget or some other way, find a way to do better and help the mayor achieve the 500,000 new homes?
I mean, I think you with all the budget negotiations, even outside of HPD, which is what we're really talking about,
right.
Homes and preservations, I think, and this is speculation on my part, because, only the mayor can really say, but, we had the pandemic, which may have weighed into things a little bit, but additionally, and again, this is a little bit of speculation, Mayor Adams has his City of Yes coming up, which is going to, make it a little bit easier as far as zoning, to get things built.
So he wants to emphasize that rather than the other plan that he talked about beforehand. That's what you're suggesting.
Well, again, this is me speculating to a degree.
No, that's fair. Sure,
but along with with the state's budget, we have a new tax incentive. I think it's a 45X to replace 421A.
All right.
So if I were to speculate, I would say that the mayor may be seeing like, oh, well, we have these other things to help encourage housing. So maybe we don't have to spend quite so much out of the city's coffers.
Do you think also, and the mayor in some ways, I'm going to use just a street term, he was spooked by the migrant crisis, and that he's got to figure out, he's got to navigate that. Now I know the state put out, I forgot the exact number, it was something like $3.2 billion or something like that toward the migrant crisis to help New York City out. But, it's not going to solve it. And people need places to live. And, instead of building, temporary spots in places like Orchard Beach, which didn't go very well, maybe he's feeling like, I don't want to spend money on this. As you said, I've got the other plans. Maybe we can emphasize those, and then I don't have to come up with capital money for affordable housing. That's my speculation.
That's, and I mean, this all comes down, this is like something we see during the budget dance, so to speak. And right now we have, progressives particularly are pushing for, with some of the extra money that they're asking for, there's two programs primarily through HPD that they're hoping to fund. One is called Neighborhood Pillars. It's for non-profit community development type corporations to rehabilitate and convert apartments. It was originally started in 2018. But after 2020, it ran out of funding. But they did notice that it did some good. I think it preserved about 400 apartments through that program. Additionally, the other program they're hoping to fund with a good portion of this extra money is what's called the Open Doors, which is for new construction to build co-ops and collectively owned.
Right. To give some home ownership. What's the timing on this like? I mean, we know that the state budget was 3 weeks overdue. Is the city going to be in and July 1st is the deadline?
Yes.
Do you anticipate this being resolved by then? Or, we're going to go into the heat of the summer? I mean, what's your sense about how this is going to play?
I mean, it's hard for,
who knows?
If I were a betting man, which I've been known to be, I'm cautiously optimistic that something might get done. I really think that the council is, the progressive caucus of the council, as well as the council as a whole, seems pretty on board with this.
There's some
demand.
unanimity over this. Wow. I want to move ahead. You mentioned the city of Yes, and part of that is this basement legalization plan. Why don't you explain what the basement legalization plan is? And you did a story, advocates, lawmakers are baffled by the exclusions in the basement legalization plan. So let's define our terms, and then we'll see why that they're, as it says there, Sandy Nurse said she was surprised and angry.
Yes. So this isn't the first time we've had a basement apartment pilot, which is what that headline had to do with. So initially, a few years back, and the year specifically, I can't remember off the top of my head, but relatively recently, Brooklyn Community Board 5 was kind of like the test ground for this new basement apartment legalization pilot. And it ran into...
Let's just define that term. So that means that people who were using their basements, maybe renting it out illegally, maybe
Correct.
Stuffing it with more people than probably were allowed, all of a sudden, some of those rules would be relaxed, and they would be able to actually use those basements for, what they wanted without getting that kind of approval.
Correct. And, one of the main hindrances to the success of that original program was the state's, it's called the multiple dwelling law. And it essentially, for metropolitan areas that have over, I think, 200,000 people, which would be like New York City, there would be stricter rules, safety regulations that come into play for places that have more than three, I think it's three units of housing.
Units, yeah.
So, I have a two apartment building, and I want to convert my basement. That brings it to the third, which brings these stricter requirements. And it brought up the costs to do these conversions. So what the state basically did is they are allowing the city of New York to, they picked 15 community boards, which isn't very many.
And there are 4 in the Bronx, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Just
correct. And I'll add that, the Bronx has, had issues with flooding. I think that, what was it? Bronx Community Board 12, I think, had 2 feet of flooding in some places during Ida. So, this definitely pertains to the Bronx. What this recent thing did, though, is it essentially kicked the ball to the city and said, these 15 community boards don't have to follow the multiple dwelling law. But it's up to the city now to, city planning, to kind of come up with this pilot program. So
Right.
The big kind of scandal that raised a lot of eyebrows was that there was a lot of exclusions. Queens has a lot of flooding. During Ida, they had 11 drowning deaths in basement apartments, and yet only one community board there in Long Island City was selected to participate. And the original pilot place, Brooklyn Community Board 5, was excluded. And it really
I guess just to summarize before we run out of time, I guess the bottom line is it seems like they're cherry picking here, there, and everywhere. And they're saying, well, if you're going to do it here, why not do it here? They have the same problems, but they got to, it doesn't seem to be a guideline, it's like, well, wait a minute, what about me? That kind of thing. And so that's what strikes me as strange. Also, eliminating parking mandates for new residential development is, I don't understand how you can do it. I mean, you can't pretend we don't have a parking problem in the residential areas. I mean, it is. And so by building new buildings and not requiring them to have places for cars, what actually are you going to do? Especially because you're forcing more people will own cars, but you're forcing them with congestion pricing to not use them in the city. So they're going to have to park somewhere.
I will say, that's a concern that's being raised. And I know that pertains a lot. It pertains to basement apartment conversions, certainly, but it's also a big part of Mayor Adams' city of yes for housing opportunity. And I mean, yes, they would be exempt from that. But one thing I have been hearing from some developers that even though they might have these exemptions, there's a good chance that they would build some parking. They're still incentivized to include parking.
To do that because to make it more attractive place to live. Listen, Chris Janaro, the zoning and development reporter with City Limits, thank you so much for joining us. We are going to continue to read what you write because how else are we going to know? That's the way it goes. But really, thank you for your time this evening, and we appreciate it. Say hello to all my buddies over there.
Will do. Thanks again for having me, Gary. And pleased to be here.
Yep. Okay, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll lighten it up a little bit, and we'll talk about the Bronx Summer Jam taking place in Bronx Park East. Don't go away.
'This year, BronxNet Community Television needs your support. For more than 30 years, we've been providing community programming shows, education courses, and access to our world-class television studios, a place where Bronx residents can call home. Community leaders and organizations can share their ideas, stories, and passions for what matters to us. We are still going strong, working hard each day, building new studios, creating new jobs, and expanding our digital inclusion opportunities so that your voices can still be heard. Every dollar counts. Donate to BronxNet and keep the momentum going and continue building a better Bronx with BronxNet.
.7% of Bronxites currently experience food insecurity. Meanwhile, instead of these nice, colorful foods, this is the best food that they have access to. If this sounds like you, there are a bunch of resources to get healthy food for free or cheap. If you want to help, you might consider donating or volunteering in one of these places. Community fridges like this one are all over the city, and allow New Yorkers to conveniently donate extra food to people who might need it. Go to this link and find your nearest one. Food banks and pop-up events like these provide millions of healthy meals to families in need. These organizations are distributing meals to Bronxites as we speak, and are always accepting donations and volunteers.
Okay, back with you on the Bronx Buzz, and I'm thrilled because two of my buddies are here. So let's say good evening to Fernando Michael, who's the founder of the Fox and King, co-founder of the Bronx Summer Jam. Dude, how are you?
I'm good, Gary. It's good to be back.
Always good to have you. And my buddy DJ Mike, CEO and founder of Sounds and Sirens, also co-founder of the Bronx Summer Jam. And if you can't tell, yes, we're going to talk about the Bronx Summer Jam. Fernando, this is an ongoing thing now. We're getting there every year. How many years? What do we got? What are we doing? And where are we at?
This is going to be our third anniversary, so our third time at Bronx Park East. Still same music, same vibe, still supporting the local music community. We're just upgrading. We're doing it better. We're doing it bigger this year. We have a lot of surprises in store.
Can you tell us what a surprise might be?
Come on, Gary. Come on, Gary. You're going to find out. You're going to find out.
No Bruce Springsteen flying in. I'm sorry to say.
You'll see.
But really, what enabled you to make it larger? I guess the popularity of it, right?
Well, I think working together with DJ Mike and really trying to figure out how we can scale this project, how can we make this bigger and better for the community. We looked at what is possible within Bronx Park East. Working with local businesses, working with local organizations, especially to help make this work. It's a communal effort at the end of the day, and what we're putting together this year for our third anniversary is going to be legendary.
Really? Uh-oh. Mike, you do the tech for a lot of different things. We've worked together, of course, in the past, and will continue in the future. Talk to me about putting on a show like this. What goes into it? What do you have to do to make Fernando's dreams come true? All our dreams come true. Okay.
Yeah, the logistics of it, Gary, are really intense. It starts really from very early on. Fernando and I work closely together on the planning process, figuring out who the artists are going to be, what we want to do, what we want to feature. And it's really just about deciding when we want to take those next steps. We want this to be a continuing thing. We want to do this every year, and each year we want to be able to get bigger and better. And as we gain credibility by doing these events every year and maintaining a presence and maintaining a positive community atmosphere, we're attracting more people towards what we're trying to do. And in that, we're able to expand, through our collaborations with others.
You guys know that, of course, I'm a total supporter of Bronx music in every way we can. Mike, is there ever a shortage? Stupid question of the day. Is there ever a shortage of artists who could and want to play? I'm guessing that you just say, hey, look, we got a free summer jam. We're out here in the park. And everybody says, oh, yeah, I'll do that gig.
I would never say that there's a shortage of artists. Or
not music in the Bronx. Yeah.
There's never a shortage of artists that are wanting to play or willing to play. It's finding and connecting with those people. That is where the difficulty comes in, and that's what building community and fostering those connections is about. We want to reach other artists. There are amazing underground local talents out there in Queens and Brooklyn and Manhattan, that come from all corners of the area. And, I may not know them. Fernando may not know them. And that's what
How is that possible?
The world is a big place.
The Bronx is a big place.
Bronx is a big place.
Yeah. Fernando, I heard about this from some people I work with. And I mean, I've been doing this a long time and I thought I knew everything about the Bronx. Talk to me a little, because Mike brought up the word underground, which, I hadn't really thought of much. but it reminds me that there was this like whole series of underground concerts that went on in the basement of a church. Did I hear about it? And the reason that I bring this up is because that created a culture that I think you guys are still building on, and in a way legitimizing it from underground to overground in Bronx Park East. So, Fernando, what do you remember? Tell us a little bit about what that was, because I think a lot of people, if I didn't know, a lot of people didn't know.
I think an important phrase is creativity begets inspiration. And we were all inspired as a community within the Bronx by these local shows, these local underground shows that really kind of set a lot of us on our paths, whether as performers, entertainers, going into the industry, from the business side, what have you. All of these shows, you know, back in the day where we all just kind of gathered to listen to local music, they all pushed us to where we are now. And I really don't know if we would be the same. You know, certainly I remember meeting DJ Mike at these underground shows. That's where we collaborated, and we grew from there. But it was a super important era within the Bronx, and it still is.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing, the TV show you had now, do you still do that show, The Fox and Kings, on BronxNet, or you've been doing other stuff?
We're actually planning a third season. No surprise with DJ Mike. We're going to be working together on that project. And we have a lot of guests lined up for it already, so you'll just see what we have going on.
One of the headliners, if I can say it, the Bronx Summer Jam, and you know how much I love Left in the Attic. If you looked at my podcast, you can see she explained exactly what Left in the Attic meant or means. But we pulled out a video. This is a cool video of, if you want to get a sense of what the Bronx Summer Jam is like, ladies and germs, let's do it. Here is Left in the Attic. All right, there you go. Come on, a little applause here for Left in the Attic. That's the energy that we're going to get. I'm dying to know the kind of surprise that you're talking about. Is it a band or a couple of bands, or we're going to get balloons this year? I mean,
definitely going to be some balloons.
There will be balloons.
There'll be balloons, but we have surprises with the artists that are playing and the other potential amenities.
How many bands?
There's a total of 12 artists.
12 artists.
12 performing artists.
Performing artists.
And that's a collection of DJs, hip-hop artists, and bands.
So let's review the location for people. You just get out to Bronx Park East, right?
So if you're going out to Bronx Park East for Bronx Summer Jam, you want to head over to Pelham Parkway. Take the 2 or the 5 train to Pelham Parkway or the Bronx Park East station. You want to enter the park around Lydig Avenue. There's an entrance right there at the end of Lydig, intersection of Lydig and Bronx Park. And if you walk right in there, you'll see the stage, you'll see the tents, and you'll feel the energy.
So now it starts at high noon. But and how long does it go? Do you get till dark, or do you get till the cops throw you out, or what happens? Till your permit runs out for the park?
Till our permit runs out. Yeah. So we're from 12 p.m., 7 p.m. and
12 to 7 p.m.
We're gonna have an awesome time. We've got a lot of artists. They'll probably be starting around 1 o'clock. the actual like artists will go on. So if we give people time to get there,
But
you
they
know, get situated, hang out.
bring a blanket, bring a chair, you know, little a lounge chair, whatever your comfort level is. Um, in terms of the artists themselves, Fernando, uh, how long do you give them? You give them 20 minutes, give them a half hour, give them an hour. Do you know, and the scheduling of it, like where is Left in the Attic going to play? I want to know because that's what I want to be there.
So one thing I love, whenever I do shows in my 10+ years, I never post the set times because I love when people just show up and rock out for the entire day. But
Right.
definitely you'll have your chance to see Left in the Attic for sure. And we do want to give every act on our festival ample time to really showcase their artistry, to perform, to connect with the crowd. It's a solid 30 minutes. You do your thing, you get on stage, you rock out, and it's going to be a great time.
Yeah, I forget which one of you it was that said it.
Yeah.
That you engage more of the community, which includes some of the businesses in the area, et cetera, et cetera. Do they have a presence? Are they sponsoring? I mean, to me, this is a wonderful concept because, of course, the more people that participate in the community and healthy community events like this, the better. So do we want to talk, or do you want to shout out about any of the businesses who've been helpful? I mean, I love the concept. I'd love to, give them what for,
Yeah, so we're definitely proud to be working with some local organizations, definitely for sponsorship. As we mentioned, we do want to grow and develop this festival into bigger and better events, bigger and better experience. And to do that, we're proud to be working with local companies like Key Food Buena Vida, the Bronx Music Heritage Center, and more. Obviously, we'll be announcing every sponsor that we have. But for now, we're proud to be working with these two directly, and more to be announced.
I knew it was the Bronx Music Heritage Center because your T-shirt said "This is Bronx Music." That's
Hey,
their
man.
T-shirt.
You got to represent. You got to represent.
All right, so let's just remind people: it's free, it's fun, it's summertime. Is there a rain date? Not that I want to cast a spell on it, but or we're just out there, rain or shine.
DJ Mike, we're rain or shine, right?
Yeah,
We're not stopping.
I think Mike can't hear us. I think he had a technical issue there. So it is rain or shine, right?
We're going rain or shine.
Great.
Obviously, if the worst happens, then we'll make sure to make proper announcements. But
And
for
figure
now,
it out.
we're going.
No, the weather will be nice. I've ordered it. I called it up there. Anyway, Sunday the 30th at 12 p.m. Thanks to Fernando, thanks to DJ Mike, and thanks to everybody who's going to go out there and have a great time. We appreciate their participation in the Bronx Buzz this evening. And we also thank Chris from City Limits. And that'll do it. You know what we always say, if the curtain don't fall and the creek don't rise, we'll be back next week. And we'll also be out there June 30th for the Bronx Summer Jam. Have a good